So I wanted to take a deeper dive into the arc barrel accessory. I do have another video talking about all the different accessories that I have, but this one is just to show the arc barrel and why I've chosen this one over the other style. So this is the standard or run-of-the-mill arc barrel offered by Merrithew. Again, I'm not sponsored by them. I received no monies from them. But this one has an open side here, and then the more deluxe one has a closed side. So there's a piece of wood that kind of covers here, and there's a little slot for a handle. I specifically chose this style for a couple of reasons. Number one, even though it's the basic one, number one, it really allows for a better hand grip for anyone that has difficulty with their wrist, or if somebody has, let's say, some spasticity in their hand. I'm thinking of like a neuropopulation with limited wrist extension, or those long wrist flexors. If they're really, really tight, it can be really tough for them to get full finger and wrist extension. So that's why I kind of like having that edge here as opposed to the flat covered edge. The other reason why I like the open edge is that you can stack the arc barrels. So if you're doing mat work, I'll have another video about mat work with the arc barrel, but if you're doing mat work, it can be a lot more comfortable sitting on two stacked arc barrels as opposed to a reformer box or a tall reformer box that has harder edges. So it just gives you some opportunity to make things a bit more comfortable for some clients. Okay, so I'm also going to show you a few exercises that can be adapted using the arc barrel for the rehab population. Okay, so I've placed the arc barrel along the railings. I've got my stopper all the way out and the gear bar all the way out. I have one heavy spring just to help stabilize. So having the arc barrel in this position just offers an alternative to using the foot bar, because if the foot bar is up like that and you're using this for hand support, it can get really hard on the wrists. So our hypermobile populations, anyone in our neuro populations that have trouble with range of motion or even just stability and strength, the arc barrel just offers just like a more gentle positioning option. So instead of having hands there in front, we can have them off to the side, gripping the sides of the barrel like this instead. Or even if you're doing like side work here, it allows you to engage the forearms, right? So if you want somebody weight bearing, let's say you're doing some star work or whatever it is that you're doing, you can kind of be a little bit kinder to that wrist while still getting some really nice forced use or some really nice feedback or work into the rotator cuff. So going into here again, we can also use this position for front splits. Instead of having the foot on the foot bar, sometimes it's nicer to have something a little bit lower and then working in this position. It's safer, there's more foot contact, it's not as uncomfortable as a solid bar kind of digging into the foot. So if someone has like a Morton's neuroma or something is really uncomfortable, our Guillain-Barré populations that may have some weakness through the intrinsics, or any other population that has trouble there, this is a great way to work around that without giving up the benefits of the reformer. You can also take the arc barrel and then put it onto the other side for the same ideas, right? So if you're doing other exercises like the back splits, you can also have the foot against the arc barrel, which is really nice. So that's a really great option for anyone that has more lower level needs, but you still want to challenge their core and you still want to challenge the shoulder girdle and any lumbopelvic stability as well. So lastly, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, the arc barrel can make some seating positions a lot more comfortable. I've got it now lengthwise here. So if we're doing back rowing work, it's just kinder on the inner thighs. For anyone that has sensitivity there, we can definitely work on our arms. We can sort of get a little adductor work too, because we have to keep the feet off the floor. But if you've got a tall reformer in your clinic, let's say you're in a hospital, you're going to have those extra, 5 inches or so in height. So you might actually have your client off the floor anyway without working a little bit of flexion. So again, we can do some bicep stuff here. We can do some, back flies. And you're still getting that core work in because of the instability in the carriage.